I got this email last week. And I said, I'm going to read this on it because I thought obviously sanity was going to prevail and Clinton was going to win. But I'm going to read this email on the air and then comment on it. But my comments have changed somewhat from what they originally were. Allow me to extrapolate. This is from Laszlo. He doesn't say where he's from, but he's not from here, obviously. With a name like Laszlo, you'd be from somewhere else. Hey, Jim, just wanting to start off that I'm a big fan of yours and an even bigger fan of progressive liberal ideologies, though what I'm about to say may come off as harsh, but I mean you no personal offense. But as a non-American, I want Trump to win because Americans deserve it. Your citizens have allowed the U.S. to be the world's greatest threat. You brain-dead lemmings have fallen for every boogeyman the news has thrown at you. You proudly invade sovereign nations, often arming them beforehand, and make no mention of the millions of civilians you killed in the name of fighting terror. Who the fuck is inflicting the lion's share of terror here? You're so pathetic you can't even stop mass shootings that occur virtually daily because you'd rather have guns than a place without mass shootings. How the fuck do we not have a travel advisory against you dipshits? Any other country in the world with armed and dangerous locals killing dozens weekly is getting a warning. Trump embodies what you are, short-sighted, dangerous consumerists that don't have the self-awareness and intelligence to understand how full of shit you are. He's the perfect choice. And after 4 years of Trump, or 8 because American stupidity cannot be underestimated, maybe then you can realize how much of a laughingstock your nation and citizenry is to the world. What a fucking backward cesspool of greed and corruption you stand for at the beginning of every NFL game. Maybe then you can understand that being a patriot isn't about bombing children, encouraging big businesses, and raping the poor. Maybe somewhere down the line, an American won't have a negative connotation in 9/10 of the world. But for that to happen, you need a lesson, and I hope that lesson is Trump. Again, huge fan and love the podcast. I was all ready to celebrate Hillary Clinton winning by cutting Laszlo a new asshole with a promo and saying, fuck you, we still proved that we know what the fuck we're doing. But now I have to apologize to Laszlo because apparently he's right. Apparently, I knew there wasn't enough racists. I knew there wasn't enough billionaires. I knew there wasn't enough religious fanatics, but I didn't count on one thing, Brian. There are enough stupid fucking white people.
I don't think you could ever discount the amount of ignorant people in this country. And
they fell for it. They fell, not only that they fell for Trump. This is wrong on so many levels. They fell for Republican ideology again. Oh, the last administration was so successful. In 8 years, he got us in 2 wars with the wrong fucking people, crashed the global economy, made us the laughingstock of the fucking world, was a bumbling fucking mushmouth dipshit that was so unpopular when he left office that he couldn't even campaign for the fucking person who was trying to replace him on the Republican side because he was toxic. He was like TNA of politics. He had the smell of grisly death on him. And 8 years later, after the guy, Barack Obama, has come along, and despite every bit of Republican obstruction and every bit of Republican obstacle they put in his way, and they said no to everything, and they shut the government down, and they fucking whined and griped about everything, something the Democrats never did except over gun control when young, innocent school children were being mowed down by lunatics that the Republicans don't want to do anything about. After 8 years of the guy coming along and getting bin Laden and saving the auto industry, and the stock market is triple what it was under Bush, and et cetera, they not only vote another Republican administration back in, but they give it to the Senate and the fucking House and the fucking majority of the state governors, and now they've got the Supreme Court picks. The last time this happened was in 1928. Does anybody remember what happened in 1929? You fucking morons. Okay, number one, the Republican ideology, just that they'd go there anywhere with anybody. I don't care who, if they nominated goddamn Bill Gates or fucking Stephen Hawking, just because they're Republicans. And they fucked us for 8 years, and then they've tried to fuck us for the last 8. done everything they could so that you would want to vote for a Republican, despite how much you might dislike the Democrat. That's goddamn ludicrous. Then the Republican that you vote for, you mean to tell me that there are seriously 50 million misguided, gullible motherfuckers in this country that cannot look at him, cannot listen to any words that come out of his mouth, cannot read any story by any credited news organization? And I'm talking about, yes, Newsweek and New York Times and Washington Post and big newspapers and magazines with journalists that know what the fuck they're doing, instead of a goddamn guy that works at the fucking Jiffy Lube or a coal miner in West Virginia that goddamn gets his news off this Breitbart.com if they know how to get on a computer, or maybe just goddamn listens to their brother-in-law when they're out drinking beer at the cookout. These actual reputable news gathering organizations and reporting organizations all told you he's a dumb fuck. He's a fraud. He's a con man. He lies. They've showed the videotape of him lying every time it comes out of his mouth. You know that he's got fucking anger management issues, just like I do. You know that he's goddamn stays up late at night and fucking engages in Twitter wars with fucking beauty queens and goddamn foreign fucking leaders. Now he's going to have his finger on the button. You dumb shits. You can't see through that every time he gets up in front of people with that fucking obnoxious smirk on his fucking face. And every time he says this shit, if they were good ideas, and some of them are good ideas, as Bolin said on this program one time, you know what TNA needs to do? They need to do more of the good shit and less of the bad shit. That's exactly what he says. We need to make more jobs. No shit, Sherlock. Thank you, Watson, my pipe, you fucking idiot. Of course we do. But you don't have any details about how we're going to do that because all of your shit is fictitious, you fucking Cheeto twat waffle. You're not going to build a wall across Mexico they're already backing up on. You're not going to forcefully deport 10 million people that they're already backing up on. You're not going to goddamn do any of the other fucking things that you've said that everybody was out there was going rah-rah at the trailer park. You're not going to do any of those things because they're physically or financially impossible. But it sounded good. And that's what 50 million Americans fell for, a fucking guy doing a wrestling promo. What did I always teach the wrestlers in fucking wrestling school about promos? If you're wanting to be a babyface, you go out there and you say what the people wish they could say if they had the platform. And then you tell them that you agree with them and you tell them you're going to do something about it. That's all it fucking takes. And you fell for it because you couldn't see that this fucking guy was as full of shit as a Christmas turkey. Every time he opens his mouth, he's out for himself. He does, as we said, he's been diagnosed by people with goddamn mental disorders to some degree. And plus, he's just a rich, clueless fuck that's lived on other. He's like, do you want Vince McMahon to be the president? Bruce Pritchard used to joke, the Artful Dodger over here at MLW Radio. He used to joke that Vince had not been to the grocery but for himself since 1983. When's the last time you think Donald Trump went to Kroger?
Never.
Fuck. It on so many levels, this is ludicrous. Even if you agreed with the Republican ideology, which once again is to say no to everything and not do anything good for anybody and not keep track of anything, even if you thought that what Donald Trump was saying was in some way feasible and possible to do, and even if in some way you thought that he actually meant what he was saying, he still doesn't know how this shit is supposed to work. And I'm sorry, he ain't going to go in and shake shit up now. He's going to go in there and he's going to realize he's fucking lost and he's going to be the promo guy. And this fucking religious zealot fanatic fuck Mike Pence is going to be basically the president. And they're going to pick all the Supreme Court justices. And Trump, if he ain't a billionaire now, he sure will be by the time he gets finished being president. Because you just know that somebody's going to win the fucking pony in the Trump family. I'm gobsmacked. I'm outraged. I'm ashamed to be an American citizen that because there's half of us, well, more than half, there's the children who couldn't vote. So we have visited this upon our children. That sounds biblical. If it ain't, it ought to be. There's some people that didn't vote, and you share in the fucking guilt and the culpability, motherfuckers. Yeah, I'm pointing because I was over there voting, even though I knew Kentucky, because 6,000 people make their fucking living in the coal mining industry here in this goddamn state. That naturally millions were going to vote against fucking Hillary Clinton for trying to rightfully put the coal mining business out of business, along with the buggy whip factories and the goddamn kerosene lamp fucking factories. Jesus Christ. And, you know, here's the thing. I'm mad. I'm disgusted, right? Before I was mad. And I was mad on behalf of myself and everybody else. Now I'm just disgusted, and I'm going to take myself out of it, because here's the thing. How is this going to just affect me? Let me go ahead and be all self-centered now and just think about me. How's this going to affect me? I'm not going to have an abortion. That's pretty safe to say, right? Wouldn't you agree with that? So just because it's going to be visit horrors and burden and suffering on millions of women when they overturn the abortion laws and take control. You know, the Republicans, they want you to have all the rights except any ones they don't want you to have. So when they take control of all the women's ovaries and uteruses in the country, and a bunch of unwanted children are born to be abused, and women's lives are in danger because of health conflicts, et cetera, or it just makes it more burdensome for them to go hundreds of miles, especially if they can't afford it whatever the case may be, it's not going to affect me. So it just bad for them. Oh, well, I'll get over it. Don't affect me. I'm not going to, if we get in a war because he fucking in the middle of blowing Putin, somehow he rakes him with his teeth, and Putin gets mad at his bitch and tries to slap him around. If we get into war, I'm not going to go. I'm too old, and nobody would want me fighting in the trenches. So everybody that's out there that's got sons and daughters that are going to get killed, well, I'm sorry, crummy for you. And speaking of the sons and daughters, I don't need the free college tuition so that I can educate myself and get a job in the real world of today instead of being a coal miner, so they can keep you down there in the hole where they want you. You fucking idiots. You vote against your best interests every time. I'm about done with you. And yes, I did call you Kentucky motherfuckers hillbillies on Twitter, and I can do that because I'm a hillbilly too, because I'm from Kentucky, but at least I educated myself. You fucking piss poor goddamn excuses for fucking human beings. So anyway, I don't need, I'm not planning on having the Caitlyn Jenner treatment anytime soon. I'm not going to let anybody chop my dick off. It's barely there as it is. I don't need the LGBT rights, right? Because I'm neither LG, B, nor T. So fuck all those people. That doesn't matter to me. I'm 55 years old, so I won't live long enough. At least I hope I don't, you know, for the planet to melt around me, because these fucking idiots that we just put in power in the nation, in the leading nation in the world, think that climate change was a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese to get an advantage in trade, because they don't believe in science, because they don't believe in knowledge. I won't live long enough to see the planet melt, so that doesn't bother me. Basically, I'm going to say, since America didn't even really speak, because when you think about it, Hillary Clinton still won the popular vote. It's just because of this, the rigged system we got. I don't know who told me that. I heard somewhere the system was rigged, that the person who got more votes in the United States of America is not the president of the United States. That's happened actually a number of times to the Democratic Party. I wonder why it keeps happening to the Democratic Party instead of the Republicans. Is there a thing called gerrymandering and et cetera, et cetera? But nevertheless, the same thing happened. We could have avoided George Bush because Al Gore got more votes than George Bush, and we could have avoided two wars and a recession and a global financial crisis and all that stuff. But because of the way we pick our leaders, the person who gets the most votes does not win in that rigged system. So at any rate, the country has spoken, And as long as he doesn't crash the economy and cause me to have to be out on the street corner selling pencils out of a tin cup, I guess I will just accept this horse shit. And we all should. All the smart 50 million should just say, oh, well, there was about 1.5 million fewer of us, but they live in the right places. So now we have a bunch of fucking maniacs running our country and scaring the world to death. And this is preferable to the intelligent, articulate, reasonable, smart, cool, calm, collected black guy that we have just seen what a leader looks like. So now we're going to go as far the opposite direction as possible because we didn't like the fact that his shit worked and we were wrong because we're either misguided billionaires, religious fanatics, hillbillies, coal miners, or gullible. Did I mention fucking gullible?